Give us a joke to test out the mic.
Give us a joke.
Any jokes?
Yeah. No, I should probably work on that as I'm a dad now. Chick, chick, 1, 2, chick, 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 chick.
One dad joke. What's the difference between what do you call a sheep and a kangaroo cross?
Shangaroo.
A woolly jumper.
I mean, no, I don't like that. I'll take that one with me.
You can have that.
I'll take that one.
As a gift from me.
Right. Yeah, thanks, right.
Mate, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. We're going. It's on. It's happening. We had a little bit of a... It's all right. Doesn't matter. We're here.
Doesn't matter.
We're here. It's happening. I met you at the last Call to Be Conscious, as I'm sure most of you podcast guests have. And I got to the end of the event and I was sort of just helping tidy up because I can't help myself and waiting to catch up with you. And then I come and speak to you. We have a very small chat and you're like, yeah, let's jump on the pod. And I was just very, very grateful for your generosity for a stranger, considering I had come to, your base level event. And then you were like, yeah, bro, let's go. And then now I'm in your beautiful home. Like,
yeah,
we're sacrificing the view, even though we get a little bit, we're sacrificing it for the people at home. Mate, so yeah, thank you so much, first off. There's a bunch of podcasts of you out there, and they go through a lot of the common questions, like where do you come from and common struggles and so on. Just for my listeners, if you want to give us a really quick rundown of where you come from, and then we'll get into some juicy topics.
For sure. Man, firstly, just, stoked to be here and stoked to have you, come out to the pad. I haven't had many visitors out here yet. We're very fresh to the space, so it's cool to have you out in the land with us. And yeah, man, the event was great, and the timing was just perfect for you to, mention the podcast. I've had a few seeds and invitations for a while now, and I haven't really been listening. I've been avoiding because I've been so busy. Well, that's my story, is I'm too busy. But, we can always find time when it's a juicy conversation like this. I think it's, nourishing and supportive for us. On the quest on the journey of life, and being able to share your story and share messages is what it's all about. So yeah, bro, my rewinding the clock back, how I got to where I am here now is a pretty rapid journey in the context of one's evolution. I kind of went all in, balls to the walls, so to speak, back in 2019 when I was forced to look inward through some health concerns and issues, and I was experiencing the classic panic attacks and a lot of dysregulated nervous system symptoms, loss of hearing and full dorsal vagal shutdown at work and things like this. It was pretty hectic. What I now know is my body was just full of stress, and I wasn't able to release or remove a lot of what I was compacting in my body, consciously or positively, just with the circumstances and the environment that I was brought up in on the farm. My stepfather, taught me to harden up and get on with it, and blokes don't cry, and just the classic stereotype New Zealand farmer. I was raised around that. And there were many great attributes, and he taught me a lot of great things, but what he didn't teach me was how to regulate, the internal sensations of my internal world. There was very little education and support with that, so I found myself in a really uncomfortable and self-destructive state in my early 20s, and it led me essentially into a place where I thought I was going to die, and I needed to make the decision to change. And unfortunately for me, I was a very stubborn, proud Kiwi that didn't listen to my body or listen to advice for a really long time, until I was at the point where hospital was a regular visit, and overdosing on drugs, and severe tonsillitis to the point where they removed them, and just a lot of bodily function starting to shut down. I'm actually really surprised that I didn't move into a more autoimmune disease, a symptom or something more severe, but luckily enough I caught myself I caught myself when I did and made a decision to change, and the journey kind of began of figuring out what that was and how can I help myself out. And I didn't really know what to do, and the first thing that I knew to do was to actually just head home to my mum and let her mother me, which was actually just a really beautiful and supportive experience for me after being away from home for a period of time, and just going back to my roots, going back to mum, being like, hey, I don't know how to help myself out, but I'm not good, I'm not okay. And the journey kind of started there with a lot of just grieving and realization of how long I've been ignoring my body and not listening, and it was really confronting and overwhelming with how much emotion came through initially as mum just held me. And that was the beginning, shutting myself in the spare room and just letting myself cry and sob and wail away. And from there it was actually a really sensitive, scary transition, because I now was experiencing myself in a way that I hadn't for a really, really long time. And I was your classic outgoing, obnoxious, egotistical country kid growing up. And when I was this vulnerable, emotional, expressive version of me, it was very new. And I actually was so scared with how the world was going to receive me, how my friends would receive me, how my family would receive me. So I actually was in quite a suicidal state there for about a week as I started to feel. And my mum promised me to go and see a psychologist, so I kept that promise with her, and I let her take me to go and see the psychologist. And I went down those traditional paths of trying to support myself, and it really did help. It did. Sitting down with a psychologist and just having someone listen to me was really it was really healing, and I realized in those conversations that I hadn't spoken to anyone about a lot of what I was talking into before. So for me, that was really eye-opening. I was like, well, I've never shared this with anyone. And it was just so nice to get that off my chest, so to speak. And as we transitioned, working with a psychologist, I realized that my body still felt really uncomfortable to be in. There was still like a compaction in my nervous system. So I tried to figure out how to change the way that I was feeling inside, and I started searching inspirational teachers and speakers, and I come across Jay Shetty, and I found his podcasts. The first time I'd listened to podcasts was Jay Shetty, and I just literally clocked all of his podcasts. And there was like a common theme of like mindfulness and meditation. I don't know what those words really were back then, and I was like, what's this mindfulness stuff? What's this meditation stuff? And as I kept listening, he actually referred Wim Hof, and I was like, what's this Wim Hof dude that he's talking about now, about what's this breathwork stuff? He talked about how Wim Hof hiked Mount Everest in his jockeys, and he done all these like crazy physical things. I was like, oh, I resonate with this stuff. Like, I still had a lot of like competitiveness in me, and I was like, I'll give this stuff a go. If this guy's hiking Mount Everest, I'll give it a go, Not that I've hiked Mount Everest, but I wanted to see what he was doing to get into that state. He was doing this breathing thing, and I was like, this looks bizarre and crazy, but I was really curious and open and almost desperate to try something to help. And I gave the Wim Hof method a go, and I had that profound first experience of breath work, and for the first time in a long time, I felt really alive. I felt alive, and I felt still. I felt still and calm and safe in my body. And I was like, whoa, this is new. This feels really good. What's going on? By the third round of the Wim Hof method, tears were flowing down my eyes. I started to have that decompression of my nervous system, and the body started to feel safe, and I had these emotions starting to come through. I was like, where's this coming from? What am I crying for? Where's this coming from out of my body? And it just became really fascinating. I was like, this is really interesting. Okay, so if this is happening to me now, I feel so much better after doing that. 3 round of Wim Hof. I feel good. Where else can this go? How much better can I feel? So I started implementing that every day. I did it every day for like 40 days straight. I started blowing my mind with the breath holds. I ended up getting to a 7-minute breath hold, which for me was crazy. I was a free diver at the time and I couldn't break 3.5 minutes on the surface.
Oi.
I got to 7 minutes and I'm like, something's happening. There's a lot in this, you know?
Wow.
What's happening in the physiology? What's happening in my brain? What's happening in the blood? So I started to get really fascinated, intrigued, started to find ways to learn more and started researching breathwork. Where can breathwork go? What's more out there with breathwork? And just started self-exploring at home for the most part to begin with, just YouTube stuff that I could find. And I went to the depths of holotropic and shamanic guided breathwork journeys online. I remember guiding myself through a 3.5-hour shamanic breathwork journey, and this was like, I was very new to breathwork, and I just went straight in. This is my personality type, bro. Just straight in, like to the deep end. And I got twisted up, man. Like that journey was. I look back upon reflection, and anyone that's listening, definitely don't do this at home. Like make sure you have a professional that is trained in this stuff, because I ended up in a very contorted a state called tetany. I'm sure you're aware of tetany. I was twisted, cramped, and I was stuck. I was paralyzed in my body, full body tetany, and I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know what was going on, and it was actually quite scary. I found myself in quite a panic state, rather than knowing what was going on and having the ability to let go and having a facilitator hold me through that. I didn't know what to do, so I actually found myself in more of a stress state, panic state after I came out of it, and I was really scared to do it again. But it showed me the power of what breath could do. I was like, how did I get into this twisted state? I can't move. My face was cramped and twisted. My hands were all cramped up. How did I get here? Like, what's happening to me? And it really awoken me to this possibility of the power of breath. And then from there, the journey really began. But fast forward to where we are now. Like, I'm now in this position where I share community events for a living, and I travel Australia and New Zealand, and I get to open up people to this modality of connecting with their breath, connecting with other people, and slowing down their minds as well. We live in such a fast-paced world where life moves so quickly, and no matter what we're doing or who we are, we can all resonate with that in some degree, where our mind is just busy sometimes. And I wanted to create a space to give people that access or doorway into a bit of stillness, so they can just experience a little bit of decompression, a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of recharging to the system, so they can go about their day again or go about their week and feel more energized and restored from what we called stillness, these events that we run now called stillness. And the community aspect was founded on this on this reason of none other than the fact that when I was going through my journey, it felt really alone. Going through my journey of awakening to myself, learning more about myself, understanding more about my body, my emotions, and my upbringing, felt lonely. Like, when I went on that journey of self-inquiry, my friends thought I was going a bit weird, and like, why do you need to know this stuff? And like, why do you want to talk about your childhood? And why do you want to know why? And in those like prompts and challenges from my friends, I was like, am I going crazy? Like, do I need to know this stuff? But it always felt right to continue to learn about me. So I kept following that path, and I lost a lot of friends that were close to me and dear to me, and I got lonely, bro. Like, full stop, I got lonely. And I was like, man, this is hectic. I feel more connected to myself, but I feel so disconnected to the people that were in my life for most part. And so Call to Be Conscious was about creating a community of people that were also on that same journey of self-exploration and wanting to learn a little bit more about what they're putting in their body, what they're listening to, what they're putting up with, but also how they're treating themselves and how they're treating other people, and just bringing a bit of conscious awareness to that and those actions that we partake in every day, just so we can begin to catch those parts of us that may be participating in destructive behaviours, maybe treating other people with disrespect or anger or resentment, that we can start to bring awareness to, and maybe start to uncover and unravel some of those patterns and moments in our day, and we can course correct, so we can come back to a more compassionate, patient and responsive state of being, and not that, not that there aren't moments in life where we need to be a bit more aggressive and have power, and especially as a man, we can be in that warrior energy, and we can let out a bit of controlled anger in the right moments when we need that to protect, especially our family and ourselves. But for most part, most of those expressions of anger are unconscious, and they're happening without us even knowing they're happening. Then all of a sudden we're in a blown up conversation about a coffee that got dropped on the floor at the cafe, and then all of a sudden we're throwing all this anger out into the world, and we're like, that doesn't need to happen, and where's that come from? But for most part is a build up of the nervous system, a build up of stress in the body, and it's now found this opportunity to let some stress out. That's usually what happens unconsciously. The body's like, all right, this is a perfect opportunity for me to let go some of this energy that's in my body from all the shit that's been happening at home. I'm going to use this moment where this car's just cut me off as an opportunity to go, F you, throw my hands in the air and get an alteration, because my body needs permission to let go. So it's found this unconscious behavior to do that. So it's about creating conscious awareness and moments of reflection to figure out, how am I feeling in this moment, and do I need to find something to positively express myself before I get to that alteration or that unconscious encounter where we are starting to cause negative effects to the world. It doesn't need to be that way. So that's been my whole mission and whole journey over the past 5 years, is just sharing spaces to enable people to reflect, to be still and put a comma in their book, or put a full stop in the story that they're writing in their life, to just slow it down and just reflect. Yeah.
And you found that the breath is the thing that helps people get there.
Yeah, well, this is like,
I'm just going to check that camera before I just have to. Okay.
well,
The breath.
yeah, the breath, like, the breath for me makes a lot of sense physiologically, what it's doing to the brain, slowing it down, and it's also just a great access way into a full body experience. For most part, a lot of us live up here. We're very heady, like energy's up here. We're experiencing everything from up here. With the breath, you bring a lot of your felt experience downward to the lower areas of the system. So it brings you into the full body, which to me is just, other than cold exposure and jumping in an ice bath, it's a great way to bring yourself out of the mind, out of the busyness and anxious stress state, back into the body. But to be honest, bro, like, when I first started sharing what I'm doing now, I thought breathwork was the answer for everybody. I thought that breathwork will help everyone. And like, the truth is, it can, and there's practices that can support everybody. But what I realized a few years into sharing was that it wasn't about the breathwork. It was about community. It was about connection. It was about bringing people together to meet like-minded people, to have more thought-provoking questions and conversations that was really creating a movement, and it was creating change in the community. It was that, and the timing of Call to Be Conscious and me sharing this stuff was quite profound with the rise of COVID-19. And when I started offering these community events, everyone flocked to them. It was like, an opportunity to connect with people, in real life. And we were going through these crazy rules of social distancing and whatnot, and people had the opportunity to come together, and I saw that being a main attractor. And then the breathwork was kind of a practice to try. And the amount of people that came down and that were just, keen to meet people, but then got to breathe and were like, whoa, what just happened to me? And I feel amazing now. That was the commonality of the reflections and the feedback that I was getting. I was like, oh man, I didn't know that breathwork was going to do that to me, and I feel freaking amazing now. And I guess that was just another positive to the community essence of what we were creating. Yeah.
I just want people to sit in that for a minute, because the community is that's it. That's it. That's it. That's the reason I came to the Call to Be Conscious event, was to meet people. And I can thank you for giving me an opportunity. I got out of my comfort zone, and I got rejected by a girl for asking for a number, and I got a number. And I've never done that before. I never asked a girl for a number.
Sure.
And that was a big thing for me, because I'm like, okay, I'm here to meet people. Let's get out of your comfort zone and just have fun with it. And the vibes were hot. It was all happening. And it makes so much sense, because most people don't need therapy as such. They don't need all of these modalities. They just need people that they trust, that they feel safe with, that isn't going to try and fix them, but will hold space and allow them to unfold and be who they are.
Yes, exactly that. There's a quote, and it's from a TED Talk that was done in 2015, and there was a huge case study done on mice, and they were testing these tendencies and symptoms of addiction with these mice. They realized that the fixer, or the antidote to being addicted, was community. And the quote that I'm going to rephrase goes, sobriety isn't the opposite of addiction, connection is. And when I heard that quote, I was like, whoa, that lands. Because what you just said just then is essentially reiterating everything that quote stands for, which is when you are connected, when you feel loved, when you feel accepted, all of those needs to run away from yourself through addictions, through distractions, disappear, because you now feel connected to the world, and you feel safe and solid and comfortable in your body, because you feel as though there's nothing to hide. People are accepting me for who I am. People are listening to me. I don't feel alienated. I feel me. So the need to run away from me dissolves. So all of those people out there that, well, you know, we're all addicts in some way. Whether it's coffee, whether it's ice baths, whether it's breathwork, whether it's food, whether it's porn, whether it's sex, whether it's drugs, meditation, just you can be addicted to sitting in stillness and not being a part of this world. We've all got addiction. So it's figuring out my intentions. Why am I doing this? Questioning the why always with something before you're doing it, and catching yourself out. Catching yourself out and finding balance with everything. Anything of something too much is going to cause a negative effect to your body, period. Ice bathing every day, for me, I find myself get into a bit of a funky state. When I take a break, body recalibrates, come back to it, there we go, we're good again. Same with breathwork. People can live too far away in the fairies and do breathwork every single day. There comes a time when you need to land back in and be where your feet are, and like me, right, be on the farm and go and chase a cow and paint a wall and change a nappy. As a dad now, I'm learning all of these things that come with being a human.
Hang out with the python.
Bro, the other meditations right there, and the other practices and the other courses, and it's the curriculum of being a human, and not needing to do 15 practices a day, and your morning routine not needing to take 3 hours and hit all your marks, and it's not about that. For me now, it's not about that. It's about just having an integrated spiritual experience in the human body that I'm in, and using the tools that I have when I need them, and checking in and remaining in integrity with what I share and what I teach, and that's really it. Finding that balance. I found myself in a state of, like, I would say, obsession of biohacking and trying to purify the body in 2022, 2023, and man, it was exhausting. When I look back, right, it was, and we've all been there, like, how long can I fast for? And like, how many cleanses can I do? And like, how open can I make my chakras? And, how high can I connect? And that's all good, but like, you can get caught up in that, and it can become an identity, and the spiritual ego can get away on you. And then before you know it, you're untouchable, and you can't connect with people, man. Like, what are we here for? We're here for connection. How are you going to connect with someone when you're walking around nude, fourth sun gazing your anus, and you haven't eaten for 20 days, and I've done all this, bro, and you're floating around like an angelic fairy, but like, who is going to connect with you?
Yeah.
You know, you're connecting with yourself, yes. You're connecting with the world and the nature, yes. But we're such communal human beings, and a lot of people blow themselves out through the spiritual portal and forget that what they're really here for is to just connect with this thing and connect with people around them, and, you know, be in the 3D form.
So you stopped anal gazing?
Oh no, I do it every now and again. I do it every now and again when no one's home.
I'm more of a nut baker.
A nut baker?
Yeah.
Oh, nut baking's good.
Another nut
But
bake.
like, bro, honestly, and I know you know, the changes that you feel nut baking within 10 minutes is profound.
It's actually insane.
Profound.
Actually insane.
Yeah, testosterone levels go through the roof, and you are on.
Yeah.
So like, I don't discredit that stuff, and I think there's value in doing those practices, but I found myself just like doing all the practices and getting absorbed and intoxicated in all the practices, you know. So yeah, bro, it's like integrating the humanness into these events and showing a bit of humility and humor, which I'm sure you experience at the event, but still doing this really important work of bringing people together and having these prompts of self-reflection and breathing and connect with your body and finding stillness and building resilience with the ice and meeting new people, and yeah, man, it's what I see to be the great medicine is the community component. And it's really cool that you came down and put yourself out there, man, and, you know, surrounded yourself with like-minded individuals. It's what it's all about, and that's what Call to Be Conscious really is. Yeah.
I love that we're talking about community, because it's such a simple answer. It's such a simple answer, and we go on these paths looking to connect with ourselves, and, you know, doing the meditation and the nut baking and the fasting and all of this stuff, when at the end of the day what we want is connection. And that rings so deep to me, and I know it will ring so deep for other people. It takes me back to this conversation I had with a mentor of mine, where I was really, really struggling with my weed addiction. And I was giving myself such a hard time over it. And he's like, Peach, brother, like, just relax for a second and ask yourself, like, what is it giving you? Like, what is the benefit? And I'm like, there's no benefit, man. It's fucking shit, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no. You wouldn't do it if there wasn't a benefit. What's the benefit? And then I started to cry. Like, I started to tear up, because I realized what I was looking for was love. I was looking for love. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all looking for. You know, it's such a simple answer. And I learnt this, I got reinforced this massively with my clients when I'm working with them. And I got a particular guided meditation that I do that shifts energy really, really fast. And at the core of every single session, what does their inner child want? Love. Was there a moment, was there a penny drop for you when you realised the core of it was love?
For sure. I think that it's an answer that we thought we would never really know. You know, like, at the end of the day, everything that we're doing is for love. It's to feel loved. And when you realise that is the answer, things become a lot more simple. Because we don't need all of the things we think we need in order to feel love. Love is a felt sensation. It's a state of being. And the marijuana gave you that. It was that soothing. It was the safety. It was the decompression. It was the, I'm out of my head. I'm in my body. Now I'm in my heart. Oh, that feels good.
Yeah.
And it's, for the most part, bro, all of these people that are addicted are just doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Whether it's heroin, whether it's cocaine, whether it's whatever, just like fill the gap. It's all to have that sensation of getting out of the brain, out of that sympathetic response, and into the heart. There's obviously some really beautiful stuff now happening in the medicinal spaces, and they're using MDMA now for therapy and psilocybin. I think it's just been passed. And also marijuana and cannabis is being used also in ceremony and whatnot too. There's a purpose there for it all. I think it always comes back to the intention of why we're using the substance and what do we want to get out of it. And when you're unconscious and when you're using it unconsciously, for the most part, it's just a self-soothe. It's to feel more comfortable in my body or to escape my current reality that I'm in because it's too much or I don't want to be here. So yeah, man, it's a cool share and an awesome message from your mentor, because absolutely, there's always a reason, there's always a positive as well. They're saying, there's a recent study done, and they were saying that those that are smoking on these vapes and also cigarettes, they're saying that the benefits they're getting from it for most part is the conscious inhales and exhales.
That's right.
Slowing down the breath, taking a full breath in and puffing that smoke back out. That's soothing the nervous system more than the nicotine is really affecting the body. It's those conscious breaths, which full circles back to breathwork. Those that are listening right now, take a 6-second inhale and a 6-second exhale and just notice how you feel. It's the same amount of time that most people breathe in a cigarette, 6 in, 6 out. Give that a go and see how you feel.
Let's do it right now.
Yes.
Would you like to guide us through a little 60-second, 2-minute?
I've got a practice for you that'll be even better.
Okay.
Those that are listening and tuning in, let's do a pranayama technique. I love this one. It's a three-part exhalation. I think I might have guided you through it actually at the event. It's a great one. It's called Viloma Pranayama, and what it entails is a nice deep full inhalation. Then we pause at the top briefly, and then we exhale the first third of air, we pause briefly. We exhale the second third of air, we pause briefly, and then we exhale all of our air, and then we take in a nice deep full inhalation again. And we'll do 3 of those.
Amazing.
Together.
Amazing.
Yeah. So wherever you are, just tuning in and listening to my voice. You can close down your eyes, or you can keep them open, whatever feels best. You can actually do this wherever you are. Whatever you're doing, you can always do this one because it's very subtle and it doesn't take much energy, and you can do it on the sly. So if you're driving, if you're running, if you're walking, if you're sitting on the loo, doesn't matter, you can do this one. So let's just tune in. So we're just going to sync our breath up together here, and we'll find a nice deep exhalation together to begin the first big inhalation. So breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. This next one, full breath in through the nose, all the way in. Holding at the top, pause. Exhale the first third of air. Pause. Second third. Pause. And final third all the way. Straight back in through the nose, full breath. Holding at the top. Pause. Exhale the first third. Pause. Second third. Pause. And final third all the way. Full breath in, last one. Holding at the top. Pause. Exhale the first third. Pause. Second third. Pause. And final third all the way. Letting go of control. Letting your breath become automatic again. Just noticing what shifted there for you. And that simple, subtle practice, it's a great technique, as I mentioned, to use whenever, wherever any sensations of stress or anxiousness start to arise. Just drop them with that one. Just notice the easing come into the system. And here we are.
Gorgeous? Gorgeous. There we are. Gorgeous. Thank you.
Pleasure.
I love that.
It's a goodie, eh?
I love that.
Yeah.
It actually took me back to when we definitely did that at the event.
Yeah, we did.
We definitely did that, obviously, and I remember the journey that we went on after that. I actually was tearing up. I couldn't tell you why. I'm not going to try and figure it out, but just to think that you can be with so many people and still go on a journey like that. Like, we must have had some collective consciousness all tapping in together, without a doubt. I'd love to take you through one of my favourite techniques. We're going to do a mini breath of fire followed by another pranayama. This one is a full yogic breath.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do 20 rounds of a breath of fire. And this is just passively. So you're going to breathe in, push your belly out, exhale, pull your belly in. And we're going to do 20 of them nice and fast. So you're going to go just like that. And just continue that. So we'll do 20 of these.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that, we're going to do 3 rounds of the full yogic breath. So you're going to breathe into your stomach. When that's full, then you feel your chest, then your throat, and then you exhale from your throat, keeping your chest and stomach full. Then from your chest, keeping your stomach full. Then from your stomach. We're going to do 3 of those, and we're just going to sit in a little 30-second meditation at the end. So, breath of fire, just uncross yourself, and we're going to do 20 rounds. So inhale, fill your belly up, and then we'll begin. Blow it all out. And then we're going to fill your stomach gently. Chest. Throat. And then let it go like a wave from your throat. Chest. Stomach. Blow it all out. 2 more. Gently fill your stomach. Chest. Let it lengthen naturally. Throat. Gently roll down the hill from your throat. Chest. Stomach. Let it go. Slowly, gently empty it out. And the final inhale. Chest. Neck. One more sniff. And throat. Chest. Stomach. And we'll just sit for a few moments. Stay with your stomach. Stay with your stomach. If you notice more space beneath your stomach, please breathe into that and allow yourself to expand naturally. And whenever you're ready, come back to the space. Five minutes, we did 3 techniques. It's that simple.
That's
It feels like we left for ages.
no, that's the cool thing. Like, yeah, bro, like the journey you can go on internally just from that shift is so amazing. So amazing. And I trust that those that followed along just now really felt that shift in your internal world. I know I do. I love listening to the cicadas, and I don't know if you guys can hear it through the mics, but the birds here and the nature sound is just so loud, which is great. And when you're in that state, you can really tune in. So all I could hear was just all the birds and cicadas and whatever else is happening out there.
It's just gorgeous. The sound of nature. Talk to me about what happens to the body when you breathe in different ways. Why and how?
So, depending on your intention and your practice, I guess it comes down to that. The intention is going to give me an indicator of what practice we're looking to use. Essentially, the breath directly affects the nervous system. For most part, the inhale increases the heart rate and the exhale decreases the heart rate. So just knowing that is a bit of a life hack. You prolong the exhale, your heart rate slows down. You increase the time of your inhalation and decrease the time of your exhalation, your heart rate's going to increase. So being able to manipulate the breath just by literally changing the timings or the tempo of your inhale and exhale is a game changer with whatever you're doing. So if you're wanting to relax, you just prolong the exhale. If you're wanting to fire up the system, doing what we just did then, short, rapid, Kalabate, pranayama, breath of fire practice is really good. So between sets in the gym, or if you're looking to waking yourself up when you're feeling sleepy behind the wheel, driving at night, I do this one a lot. Just a quick pump of the fire of breath. Just the breath of fire gives you a bit of stimulus of the sympathetic response. And then the opposite at night, going to bed, I'll do a 4-8 breath, so in for 4, out for 8. Slow my heart rate right down, and the nervous system will quieten and decompress for sleep. When it comes to your more transformational practices, what starts to happen when we're breathing in a repetitive, conscious, connected way, we're starting to completely alter the physiology in the body. By blowing off excess amounts of CO2, we essentially create an alkaline buffer. We call it temporary respiratory alkalosis. And as we blow off the CO2, the body can't keep up and produce what it needs to in the gut. That's what raises the pH. And as we blow off CO2, what starts to happen is the hemoglobin holds on to oxygen rather than releasing it. So CO2 is the precursor for oxygen being transported through the hemoglobin or through the blood. So we need CO2. It's demonized in so many different ways. The CO2 levels are rising in the atmosphere. We need CO2. It's a very important aspect of the transportation of blood through our body. So as we blow off CO2, what happens is the blood vessels start to contract and hold on and to the blood. And that's what causes the cramping in the system, but it also creates an alteration and change in blood flow into different aspects of the brain. For the most part, when we do a conscious connected breath for 8 to 10 minutes, what we do at stillness, we start to shift the brain waves from that shutting off of blood flow to the brain into a low beta/alpha frequency. Now, a beta frequency is what we're in right now. We're listening, we're thinking, we're analysing, we're articulating, I'm here, I'm engaged. A low beta is starting to enter into the more meditative state. And then as we enter into the alpha frequency, that's known to be a more meditative, healing, rejuvenating state of being. So for those out there that are like, I can't sit in lotus, or I can't sit still, my mind just goes so fast, with breath work we're actually physically shutting down the brain, which is quite a weird, strange thing to think about. It's like I'm taking blood away from my brain. We don't want to do that throughout the rest of our day. We actually want more blood flow to the brain. So these practices are great periodically and to be used as a practice. So the main area that we're shutting off is the prefrontal cortex, which is our monkey mind where we analyze and think. It's our cognition, so to speak. So we're taking blood flow away from that for a short period of time. It's called temporary respiratory a transient hyperfrontality. It's called transient hyperfrontality. Transient meaning an altered state, hypo meaning less, frontality meaning frontal lobe activity. So transient hyperfrontality is what that stands for. So the more and the longer that we breathe in this manner for, the deeper we go into this altered state of consciousness, this transient hyperfrontality state. So this is when you enter into these cathartic or emotional release states, is when the brain is switching off, the body is in a sympathetic state from the way that we're breathing. We're hyperventilating, predominantly a chest breath in and out of the mouth. So we're in a very stressed state. So we're mimicking a stress response in the body. The brain's offline, essentially. So the body can now start to express itself innately or instinctually, the way that it needs to express itself, without us going, I can't move like that, I can't make that noise, I can't let that go because the ego's offline. So the body now has this opportunity to express itself, and that's when you see and have these things come through. You can also have quite internal, lucid, and very vivid experiences come through the brain, because we're starting to access the amygdala, which is in the central brain. From the blood flow changing, we start to activate the hypothalamus and the amygdala. That's when we have these memories that are stored in the body start to come through and are enabled to be relived. So that's where, the traumatic experiences are stored. It's like the parts of us that are in there kept in the memory bank to protect us from potential threats that are very similar to our past experiences. So as an example, if I was swimming, I was 5 years old, I was in deep water, and my parents weren't there, they left me to go swimming on my own. I'm 5, I'm out the back, and all of a sudden I can't touch the ground. I'm trying to tread water, and then a wave hits me. Now I'm struggling to get back to the surface. I'm gasping for air, I'm coughing water now, I'm starting to drown. Somehow I get pulled back into shore and I get slammed on the beach. I'm coughing up water, my body's in a full sympathetic response, and what I need the most right now is someone to hold me and to ask if I'm okay. Are you okay, Ryan? You just, you had a really scary experience just now. You took in some water and that must have been scary. Like, how do you feel? That's what I need. I don't get that. For the story, I don't get that support. My parents didn't see it. I come in, I'm 5 years old, I know what's going on. My sympathetic nervous system's spiked. Adrenaline's pumping. My nervous system now is starting to recognize that experience was a life-threatening experience. So what happens now in my neuroception is I start to create a story that particular environment is unsafe for me. So now, because I haven't had the ability to process all of the stress and the emotion from that particular experience, my nervous system now is setting up defense systems, almost like armor, to protect me from the possibility of that happening again. So with that comes the skewing of my neuroception. So now, the way that I see the ocean is a danger. So without really understanding what's going on as a 5-year-old, I get on with the day. I start building sandcastles. I don't know that there's stress in my body, but all afternoon I'm just irritated. I'm misbehaving. Parents don't know what's going on, but I'm misbehaving. He's got all of this energy. All of a sudden, he won't go to sleep. My nervous system's still jacked up. So it's going to deactivate over a couple of days, but it's going to take a while to rebalance. Now, I'll start acting normal after a few days, but I resist getting in the ocean now. This kid that loved the water now all of a sudden doesn't love the water. I go through childhood, I go through my teenage years, I'm in high school, we go on a school camp and we've got open water kayaking. Activity. And all of a sudden, you don't want to do it. You're feeling this retraction or this blockage to going out in the open water. You don't know why. All the other kids are sweet and they're all getting in their kayaks, and all of a sudden your body's like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Why don't I want to do it? Why do I feel as though that I'm feeling really unsafe all of a sudden to get on the water? What's happened to me? I can't remember what happened when I was 5 years old. My parents won't remember either, but there's a block there. So until I get back in the body through a somatic practice and enable my body to express itself the way that it needed to in the face of the danger that it wasn't able to because of the lack of safety and support from my parents that weren't there or friends that weren't there, I now resist the ocean. I'm now an adult. I'm freaking 27 years old. I can't go swimming out the back. I just don't feel safe out there. Why is that? It's because of what happened to me when I was 5 years old. So that's an example. The most common theme and what I think a lot of people can resonate with is the first heartbreak. The story that we tell ourselves now from the lack of ability to express ourselves the way that we needed to from that first heartbreak through high school is that I can't find my one. I can't find my partner. Or I can't trust men. I can't trust women. I had my heart broken when I was 14 years old. I wasn't able to express myself. I got over that one by getting under another one. I moved on. I got drunk. I got pissed. I moved on. I partied. I kept moving. But what happens when I now get close to an individual? I push them away. I self-sabotage. I run away from the situation when it starts to deepen because I'm so afraid to feel the pain that once wasn't felt from that first love. That's the block right there.
Mm.
So until we go through that emotion, we start to feel that pain that was not felt in that first heartbreak. I'm going to sabotage every relationship. As soon as that person gets close to me, and as soon as my heart starts to feel as though it's under threat, I'm out of here. I don't even want to be hurt like that again, because I don't know how to feel it. So that's the thread. And a lot of people out there listening are in these patterns. You may even be in an intimate relationship and you think to yourself, maybe at night, why don't I feel connected to this person anymore? Or why can't we go deeper in our relationship? Why do we feel like we're plateauing? It's because there's a defense system at play in your nervous system. And keep in mind, this is a very intelligent system that's working. It's not at fault. It knows what it's doing. It's there to protect you.
That's right.
But it's also there sabotaging the deepening of relationships. So it's up to us now with awareness to explore the body, to get into the body, using these somatic practices or using plant medicine or whatever you feel drawn toward, to get into the psyche, to get into the heart, to open that thing back up, to open yourself back up, to love. It's right there. But it's us that's holding back, and it's us that has the key to get that thing back opened again. But it's a practice, man. And for most people, they don't get there until they're on death's door and they realise, holy shit, I had my heart closed my whole life, or I wasn't able to express the love that I have for my partner my whole life because I was scared that it would get taken away. And it's a sad truth, and it's a hard truth. And even me with my partner, like, been with her now for 4.5 years, and for 2 years I thought that my heart was open with her. It wasn't. It wasn't. There was more that I could open to, and it wasn't until I had a really deep emotional process with her that I realised that I was still holding on. And I thought I was open, but no, there was another layer. And
talk to me more about that.
Yeah. So it was actually an experience I had a week after I'd had a big activation with THC, the psychoactive substance of marijuana. And I had it was actually a very unplanned journey with THC oil. And I had ordered this stuff online, organic THC, the psychoactive substance of marijuana. And I ordered it to go deeper into I wanted to practice going into a deep meditative state with THC. Because this is during my self-explorative years of trying everything.
Yeah.
And I got this THC, it arrived, and I was with Jess and a friend, and I was like, oh, let's give it a go tonight, let's try it together. And we all took, the recommended dose was like 8 drops. And I was like, let's just take 4. We took 4, Johan took 4. Fast forward, nothing's happening. 2 hours later, nothing's happening. 4 hours later, nothing, no one feels a change. I'm like, alright, this is really bizarre. Something should have happened by now. Nothing. And it was bedtime at this point. It was 9 p.m. I was like, oh, I'll take a couple more drops, before bed. Might kick in later. I took another like 2 drops. Anyway, I wake up like 3 hours later. It was about 11 p.m. and oh yeah, it hit me. All I was seeing was like kaleidoscope, different colours, and it was very psychedelic. And I went on a wild journey that night. It was actually the night that I thought I was having a severe heart attack, and the ambulance was called, and it was a journey in its own. So when I came to, I was in this very high euphoric state, and then it went south real quick. My heart felt like it was beating out of my chest. I couldn't slow it down. Everything that I was doing, and I'm a breathwork facilitator and practitioner, I was like, I got this. Doing my techniques, nothing was working. And I started to panic. I was like, oh shit. And for more context, I'd had heart issues for about 1.5 years prior. Lots of palpitations and lots of skipping. And so my story was like, your heart's not good. That was the story that had to play out. So this journey that I was now on, under the influence of THC, I was having this like full-on ego death. I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was so real, man. And it was real, to be honest. My friend actually said to me that your heart stopped at a point in time during this, and I'll tell you when. I got to the point where my heart was beating out of my chest. I thought I had it together for a period. I was trying to like do my breathing techniques. I was like, no, I've got this, babe. And Jess was panicking. She's like, you okay? Because I'd never look as though I'm not okay. And I was like, no, I'm good. And then I could feel myself sweating. And I was like, trying to breathe. like breathing techniques weren't working. And I was like, oh man. I started to distract myself, got my phone out, got on Spotify just to put music on to try and distract.
Yeah.
Hit shuffle on my playlist.
What play?
You wouldn't believe what played. You Can't Rush Your Healing, Trevor Hall. I was like, no. I was listening to You Can't Rush Your Healing by Trevor Hall. I was like, just sitting there listening to this song. Meanwhile, I'm like distracting. I'm like tapping my body, heart's racing through my chest. And I looked at Jess and she's like, you're not okay. And I was like, no, I'm not okay. And I was like, I need help. I was like, I need help now. She gets on the phone to the ambulance, calls my friend out of the room that was in the spare room sleeping. He comes in. By the time he gets to me, all I can remember was pulsing. My whole body was pulsing. Just this is the best acting I can do. This is what it felt like. Just pulsing. Couldn't talk. Just pulsing. My whole body was like just pulsing. My friend comes and grabs my hand. He's like, Ryan, stay with me. I'm here with you. He's like, squeeze my hand. He said I could barely squeeze his hand. I was barely there, barely conscious. I felt like I was like losing consciousness. Bouncing, pulsing. He took my vitals. He realised that I was in trouble. He said he could feel my heart rate and my heart beating out of my chest. He's like, he said he could feel my heart like in the centre of my chest, like thudding. And he's like, okay, this is serious. And he just tried to keep me conscious while Jess was on the phone. And it was getting worse. And then he said a few words. He said to me, Ryan, I want you to know that where you're going is a beautiful place and that it is okay and you can let go. Yeah, man. And
Holy
every part of
fuck.
my body was resisting to let go. I was like, I can't let go. I'm not ready to die. I'm not ready. So my whole body was like, nah, can't do it. I can't do it. And he said, look at me in the eyes. And I was like pulsing, looking at him. He said, let go. Let go. And in that moment, I trusted him. I trusted in letting go, and I just let go. I let go of all control, like all resistance, and it was the most profound thing. Like everything went like silent. Everything went like, I felt warm. Everything was silent, felt warm. And he said, in that moment, I literally like went completely limp. He said I had no pulse for about 20 seconds. No pulse, completely limp in his arms. He was crying. He's like, my mate's just had a heart attack. Jess was on the phone. She'd started to lose it. And then all of a sudden all I could feel was him sobbing on my chest. And I came back. I was back. And all I could feel was him and hear him sobbing. I pulled my head up. He couldn't believe that I was there. And he started laughing. He started laughing and went from tears to laughter. And I was like, I'm okay. I knew I was fine. I'd intellectualized what happened. I was like, I'm okay. I'm back. I was like, I'm good. I was like, I'm good. I'm good. Oh my God, I'm here. I'm good. And then I had this crazy energy overtake my body. And this is going to sound really weird, but it was the energy of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I was like, being as someone that is on the spiritual path, I was like, all religions, I was like, yeah, they've all got the same message. And I was like, but they're all like this, the energy or the people that they put at the top of, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Christ, whether whoever your philosophical religious tie to has a being at the top of it. And I was like, nah, God's not real, Jesus isn't real, and because for me the God story didn't work, so the Jesus story didn't work. But no, Jesus was very real, and what his message brought to the world was very real. And when I was in this experience, my whole body got taken over. I had no control over it. My arms opened as wide as they could. I got and I was fully crucified on the bed. All I remember was the mouth was open as wide as it could go. Tears were flowing like a river down my face, and all I could feel was this energy coming into my body that I could never describe. It was crazy, man. And I was like that, not breathing for like a minute, just exploding with love. Exploding with love. That's all it was love. Jess and my friend said the whole temperature of the room changed. crazy. One of those like biblical things.
Mm-mm.
And I knew every single cell in my body was like just alive. It was the craziest experience. And anyway, that happened. I didn't sleep for like 2 days. I was just beaming with like love and energy. I was just like a complete different person. Everyone I interacted with was just like feeling me to a whole another level. They were just like, Ryan, what is going on with you? I was like, I had this wild experience. And,
Let me tell you.
I was actually really like, I was struggling to tell people because it was hard to articulate. And yeah, it was really hard to comprehend. So I actually was really resistant to telling anyone for a long time. But the week after that, I was on 0 substances, and I was laying in bed with Jess, and I could sense that there was something energetically out between us. I was so tapped in, bro, energetically after that event. I was so open. So I knew, like, if something was off with someone, like, discernment was so clear. I knew when someone was bullshitting me. I could see through the ego so clearly, bro. It was so gnarly.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, this is like a superpower. Quite profound. But I was laying there in bed, and I was like, oh, I feel something with me and Jess. I was like, something's coming. And then all of a sudden, I closed my eyes, we were going to sleep, and then the same thing happened. My whole body got taken over again by an energy. It was just like vortexing. I've got a video on my phone of it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I said to Jess, whilst I was in it, I was still in control. And I said, Jess, can you film this? Because I'm just letting go right now. My body's doing crazy things. Can you just film it? Went through this whole other experience where I like dissected a few more blockages that I had in my body, whether that was musculoskeletal in the spine and energetically and emotionally. Went through some processes. And then the energy come right up to my heart. I was like sitting around here, and I was like, oh fuck. I was like, this is about you. Jess, I was like, this is about you. I was like, whoa. I was like, oh well. I was like, whoa. I was like, I'm still so scared to let you in. And I didn't. This was all coming out. I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa. And there was tears flowing. I was like, whoa. I was like, babe. I was like, I love you, and I'm so scared. I'm still so scared. I was like, whoa, I'm still so... I was like, repeating it. I was like, whoa, I'm still so scared. As if it was like new information. Yeah. Because it was. I was like, whoa. And then all this emotion came up, and I was like, I'm still so scared. And then she put her hand on my heart. She's like, babe, I got you. I was like, I got you. I was like, I'm so scared to be hurt. I'm so scared to be hurt. She's like, I've got you. She was holding me, and I had tears flowing. She had tears flowing. And then this energy moved up and out the top of my crown. And then I went through like more of this process and like fully reset, and then I landed again. And I was just like, whoa, babe, I'm back. I'm here. I was like, whoa. It was so bizarre. That was so visceral and real and powerful. And I realized in that moment I'd been holding back from letting her in to a degree, because there was still that emotion there. There was part of my heart that was still closed. So after that, like, the relationship and our dynamic just went so much more deeper and more connected, and the intimacy grew so much more. And in that moment, bro, I realized there's so many layers to this, and we still go through it. We still go through layers now, like in a devoted, intimate couple that now has a daughter. We find layers, you know, but those were the most visceral, emotional, physical layers that I've ever felt through our process of relationship. But man, I'll never forget those moments, you know, and I realised that, yeah, there were parts of me that were still really holding on, and through all the work that I'd done prior to that, I thought that I was good. Nah, man, like, there's more, and that's the story, right? And that's the great journey of, like, there's always more, and you're never going to be healed completely, and it's just the life journey, and here we are. But anyway, bro, that was a little ramble into that moment that I had with her, and also the moment that I had with the THC was quite profound for me, and it really changed the trajectory of the way that I share this work, because a lot of the dots connected. So yeah, bro, thanks for listening to that one. I've only shared that once on my own podcast. I haven't shared that story before in a potty, so yeah.
Thank you for sharing, bro.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of strong emotion through that story, and I almost thought you were going to start tearing up. What can you tell me about that?
I think it's the truth of the story, and the power of it. It's still, yeah, like I had the full body, the tingles and vibrations, and also the welling of the eyes was starting to come through, and because it's still such a real experience and a live experience for me, and because it's still, I think the story is still so pure. I've got this idea that the more you tell a story, the less pure it becomes, because it's just shared so much. Like the story of Jesus, it was passed on and misinterpreted and then changed as he travelled. And it's the same with my story, like that one there, because it's the first time I've shared it on a podcast for years and years and years. So I got to share that with you now, and I think that's what you felt, was the energy that story holds in my heart, and it's kind of radiating from my heart to yours, and we're sitting in the same field, so you were feeling what I was feeling. It's pretty cool.
That was special, man. Wow. I could see it. I was watching it all happen while you were talking.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So where does that leave you now? What's the deal with you and Jesus?
Yeah, no, I know that's a big yarn. I think to summarise it.
Love a big yarn.
Yeah, no. To summarise it.
Talk to me about Jesus, bro. What's this?
Well, that was so clear to me, and I was brought up in a family that was very much on the path of, they were Jehovah's Witnesses. So
were.
No, I think I don't know if they still are anymore. I believe they still are, but me and my sister were brought up in a very unstable family environment, and Mum was doing her best, and she didn't have much support around her. She left my dad when I was 3, and Granny, her mum, was really one of our only support networks. So when Mum was struggling, we'd go to Granny's and she would look after us. Granny was a Jehovah's Witness, so she tried to forecast our future and put a lot of her beliefs onto us through her church. And I remember being forced to do things that I didn't really know what was going on, and my memory isn't that great, but all I remember was just being very uncomfortable around a group of adults. I'm glad that I probably can't remember, and I'm sure that my memory's probably blocked out a lot of what happened, but there's a lot of history in the family of sexual assault and manipulation, to the severe end of full child abuse, and I'm not sure what happened behind closed doors there in that house where we were, but I know that every cell of my body is and was resistant to spending time with my granny, or growing up as a kid. And so for me, growing up, her religion was always something that I revoked and didn't want to be a part of, and had no interest in being a part of. So Mum moved away, and we finally, she found a partner at some point, and then he was a Christian, and we started going to church with him, because that was how Mum was connecting to this new man. So we started going to this church, and it was obviously a church of Jesus, a Catholic church and God, and we started going there, and I was actually struggling with a severe disease. At the point in time, it was a Perthes disease. It eats away the bone of the hip and completely disintegrates it. So I grew up with severe pain all the way through from when I was diagnosed and had the major surgery at 3.5 years old till 11 years old, when they broke the femur and took the plate out. But the bone regrew back, but I was going through a lot of pain during those earlier years, and we used to go to church, and I'd be prayed for. I remember standing in front of the church, and they'd all put their hands on me and bring the Holy Spirit in, and bring that energy through. And obviously I wasn't able to understand what was going on back then, and I just was just listening to what they were saying, and what they were saying was, this is the Holy Spirit coming through you and through us to you. And now when I think of energy and the universe, I now see it as a collective consciousness, a collective concentrated field of energy being put onto my body to heal my hip. And it's pretty cool, different words, similar energy, Holy Spirit energy. So we went to this church for quite a while, and and I think we were baptised in all sorts up there in Kaikoura, New Zealand, and that was kind of my initial relationship with that. And then we ended up moving through as a family a pretty challenging time when my mum and he split, and then I just resented the church because he was mistreating my mum and she left him, and I was like, if you're, and this is just a classic, if you're this nasty and you go to church and you think you're a good person and you know, confess your sins and everything else, yet you still treat my mum the way you're treating her, like I don't, and this is still a strong belief of mine, like all those people that go to church yet still partake in severe negative acts, yet still just go and confess their sins and think they're going to heaven. I'm like, man, there's some misalignment there and severe hypocrisy, what you're living, you know, in, and it's like the lack of embodiment of what you stand for. So like my resistance to the Catholic Church started from there, and then also just religion in general. I was like, who are you guys, like thinking that you guys are God's gift, yet you're still mistreating people? I was like, who are you, you know? So I went away from that kind of space for a long time, and for that reason, and then it wasn't until this experience, and also when I started to get a little bit more curious with spirituality, I started exploring different religions, and for most part a lot of you know, breathing and everything was related to more so there's Oakley the Labrador knocking on the door. He wants to come and say hello.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a good boy, because you know, from the Catholic standpoint, like they demonize breathwork and yoga and these practices that are connecting with the body. So I was like, man, what's going on here? Yeah, where's this coming from, and why are they so against it? And where is that coming from? Like, why do they want to stop us from breathing and connecting with our body? And you know, like, it's just so bizarre. And then I had this experience, and when I had that full, felt as I was crucified, and as soon as I come out of it and I came back to myself in a conscious state, it was like in my brain, that was Jesus Christ coming through you. Christ, like Jesus Christ, his consciousness, his energy was coming through my body. Whoa, like whatever awakened him was like trying to awaken me, trying to like, you know, shock me, like, you know, give me something. So ever since that moment, bro, I've had a lot more of a relationship with Jesus. You know, internal conversation, internal dialogue. Those moments when you're speaking with the universe, with the Creator. I'll talk to Jesus, you know, because I've had that visceral felt experience. And I'm always someone that needs to have the experience myself in order to believe something, to share something, you know. And for me, it was so crystal clear. Like, I was actually like so embarrassed to say it out loud to Jess, because she's like, "Babe, you okay? What happened?" I was like, "Oh my goodness, I don't want to say this because it feels so weird, and I don't, like, every part of me is resisting to say this." But that was Jesus Christ coming through me, and she was just like, "Whoa." And I was just like, it's just so clear. So since then, yeah, man, there's the internal dialogues and the conversations with him as a person who was roaming earth and healing people and had that divine connection to himself. And a lot of his messages of and what he shared, I really hold closely to me. And I believe in, you know, for most part, a lot of what the scripture and the Bible stands for has been twisted and changed through time and history, and a lot of the original writings have been destroyed, gone. But for most part, a lot of his messages are really, really strong and pure. And yeah, I'm not a Christian of such. I don't need to go to church, and that wasn't his message anyway. So I have a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
I think from that connection, I'd be silly to not engage with him. And I think ever since I have engaged with him more, and I have a dialogue with him more, my life has changed massively. Like, look where I am now. Like, it's pretty wild, you know. And a lot of this come from my partner, but the successes of just what's happened in the past couple of years to get us here, I believe has a big part of me trusting in my experiences and building that intellect and relationship with something that's greater than me, which is Jesus and the universe. Yeah.
What a fucking chat, bro. What a chat.
No.
Do you have any other guides?
My guides, what I found out recently not recently, it was about a year and a half ago. I had an energetic reading from a woman who's psychically connected, and I went and saw her, and she said, "Oh wow, you've got a group of spiritual guides here with you, and they're a strong team." I was like, I feel that. And she said, "There's one here in particular that they usually don't show themselves." I was like, "Tell me more." And this is a cool story for you.
Yeah.
She said it's a Native American chief. He's huge, big feathers coming over the head. She's like, "Do you have any inheritance through the Native American lineage?" And I said, "Not that I know of, no." And I kind of let it go, and we moved on, and I was telling Jess about it, and she's like, "Man, Native American, that's random." We went to New Zealand on a trip. Get this. Rock up to my uncle's house, walk in the front door, look on the kitchen counter, and there is a Native American statue. I said, "What is that?" "What is that?" And he goes, "That's the Native American chief." And I said, "Where's he come from?" And he said, "Don't you know?" I said, "No." And he said, "We have Native American in our bloodline, and it's very close." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, man." He's like, "I've been on a bit of a journey on the last," because he kind of followed suit with the breathwork that I've been getting into, and he's been on his own spiritual path. He's got a lot of PTSD. He was in the army, and he went through a lot, and he started exploring himself, and he started exploring bloodlines. He realized that his granddad's dad was from the Abenaki tribe in America, which is still very much alive, a Native American tribe over there. So he had the totem and all on the wall carved out. He created the own totem of evolution, which went from the turtle to the otter to the eagle to the bear. That was our rise of consciousness through the animal, so to speak. So, yeah, man, this inheritance from the Native American came through this reading. The chief was there with me, and I was like, "Whoa, that's cool." And yeah, really buzzy, man. And another cool thing off that happened. We found a new retreat to run our level 2 practitioner trainings at. I walked into this house, huge log cabin, and I walked in. What do I see? Native American statue right there. And I was like, this is the place. So I've been running a facilitator training from there for the last 3 years, because I realised that there's a lot of spiritual support there for what we're doing in those rooms. So yeah, man, I guess that guide there is always there, and same thing, I'll communicate with him. It's a man. I'll communicate with him every now and again when I'm in meditation, and just thank him for the support, and I know he's there, and it's a pretty cool feeling to have, and then to have that reiterated through that psychic that was able to see him was pretty, it's pretty cool to connect all those dots, to have that. Yeah, bro. Other than that, I guess Ram Dass played a big part of my initial stages of evolution. Jay Shetty and Lewis Howes also were, I would say, people that I looked up to at the beginning. Ram Dass, before Ram Dass was super popular, I was into Ram Dass, and a lot of his philosophical outlooks on life I really resonated with, and that he just broke it down really simply. Be here now. The time is always now, and that really landed in my bones. The time is always now, and I was like, wow. And then whenever Jess would ask me what the time is, I would say, the time is now, babe. And yeah, man, a lot of his lessons I just really, really loved. I still listen to him sometimes on the potty, but he's so good. Just simple shit,
Yeah.
but so profound. And I loved his story of how he grew up and went through university. He was just a classic American dude, and found acid and was exploring acid, and had that profound experience where he lost his legs in this trip, and realized that he was nothing and was a spiritual essence, and it's kind of began his journey of exploration more. Started sharing his message with the Western world, and here we are. And like, yeah, Alan Watts too. He's a great man, and amazing words come from his mouth. And for those that are listening, I'm sure you guys are aware of Alan Watts, and he's awesome too. Just the stories that they get to share and how they express it are really great. Easy listening, you know, not too wordy, and just like, yeah, grounded spiritual teachings. Yeah. Yeah, bro. The biggest teacher for me recently has been Jess, my partner. Watching her go through birth and has been one of the most profound things I've ever witnessed in my life. And seeing her navigate the pain and also just motherhood has been really, really profound to witness and watch. And the patience and the devotion I've seen from one woman, unmatched, man. And she's still breastfeeding over a year and a half in now, still breastfeeding, contact napping, wants to provide our daughter with the most stable, supportive nervous system as she can grow up with. That co-regulation component is really key these earlier years, and we see it in our daughter, like the way that she's confident and gets around and in public is so open, not shy, very confident and outspoken, so to speak. It comes from all of what my partner's doing and me. I'm a part of it, but she does the majority of the work. She remains so attuned and sensitive to what Florence is needing, and it's been such an amazing thing to watch. And I realised that, like, you know, the biggest lessons in life have come from now being a father and being in a devoted relationship. You can do all the courses in the world and learn from as many people as you want, but really all the work is in your own home. It's in your own home and your own family unit, and I really can see that now. Yeah.
Talk to me about masculine and feminine energy. What's going on there?
Yeah, I guess it's I always thought it was a sex thing to begin with. I thought it was the way a man is and the way a woman is, and I realised that it's completely incorrect. I realised that we as a human have essentially 4 quadrants of expression, 4 ways of expressing ourselves as a being, and we are, for most part, as a man, we are 1% more in our masculine than our feminine, and a woman is 51% in her feminine, and they can fluctuate and move as well in accordance to what chapter we're in life and what we're doing and what we're practicing, but there should be a pretty fine balance between the two. And as a man, we predominantly will be in that just a little bit more percentile in our masculine energy. So you've got the light and dark, masculine and feminine, light, dark, from both sides of the spectrum. So for me, masculine energy really embodies and encompasses presence, stability, and integrity, action, doing. That's light masculine. Dark masculine is your protector. It's your warrior energy. It's aspects of you that need to hold the fort down, to be more abruptive, to take the action from a more aggressive energy when something needs to happen and to be done. And then moving into the feminine energies, your feminine is more passive, more gentle, more soft, more restorative. So it's like, if you think of a tree, like there's many trees to look at right now, the masculine components to a tree is the trunk and the branches that go out, and then the feminine aspects of the tree are the leaves that flow in the wind and move with nature and with the wind that moves the trees, moves the leaves, you know. Whereas the masculine is like, I'm here, I'm not moving, my roots are deep in the ground, I'm not going anywhere. The feminine can be blown around in the wind and kind of drifts with the flow of life. So there are many ways to look at the different energies. Like when we're in the car driving, like for most part, we're actually in a very drifty, relaxed state. But you're still very grounded and masculine in the way you're holding the steering wheel. You're holding it, you've got it solidly. But with your eyes, you're very lucid. You're looking at your mirrors, you're flowing, you're floating between what's in front of you, what's behind you, looking at the view. So you've got two dynamics and two energies kind of weaving with each other there. Whereas if I was like hyper fixated, steering wheel, looking at the car in front of me, and I wasn't moving around my mirrors, then there's going to be an energy out of balance. Either you're going to get super fatigued, or you're going to start to fall asleep because you're not engaging with other things and you're not moving, or you're probably going to just be so aggressive and hyper fixated that you may cause an accident because you're just looking at the one car. You may not see what's happening around you. I guess that's just the analogy that I've used to explain it. But when it comes to a man and a woman, we express these energies in our own way. A woman, for most part, is wanting to be more surrendered to life, more in surrender and in trust with life. She wants to be led and guided by her man, for most part, and she wants to trust in him. When I'm leading the day, like Jess will come up to me in the morning and she's like, babe, what are we doing today? She'll look to me for guidance for the day so she can maneuver her activities around those things that she needs to do. And she wants to flow through her day as well. So she wants me to create a structure for the day, and then she wants to move through those structured events through the day. That's how she feels best supported by me. And then me, what I want from her is to trust in me and to be in her feminine, to be able to trust in my guidance when I'm in my masculine energy, so I can be like to her, all right, babe, we're going to the shop at 2 o'clock today. We've got something to pick up from there, and then we're going to have dinner around 4. And that's all I've got planned for the day. Cool. So we'll both maneuver around those couple of things that we've put into position. So I can now move around those things that I've done, but I need to make sure that I do those. As a man, integrity is number one, and masculine energy, integrity is number one. So I've got to make sure that I do those things. And I don't let anyone down doing so. So ticking those off, hitting my marks, creates more trust for Jess when I come to her with the next thing that we're going to do. Because if I say to her, we're going to go to the shop, and we don't go to the shop, she then is going to question my word. And she's going to think, oh, Ryan said that he's going to do that thing, but he's not doing it. So how can I trust him when he says to me that he loves me? It's going to be a little bit harder because I don't know if he does, because he said that one thing, his actions are doing the other thing. So embodiment of what we're doing and embodiment of who we are is really necessary for a relationship. An embodiment to me is when your actions, your words, and your energy and your thoughts all align. Because you could be saying one thing, but you could be thinking the next. You could be thinking, oh, man, it's a beautiful day, eh? But in my internal mind, I could be going, oh, it's actually overcast. It's not that great, might rain. But I'm saying to you, oh, what a beautiful day. And you and your body can feel that something's out there. Because you can feel the lack of alignment in the energy. Because I'm like, oh, it's a beautiful day, eh? But you know that you don't actually think that. You're thinking, he doesn't think that. So there's a conflict. But if I'm like, oh man, a little bit of blue sky, but mostly overcast here, you can feel and see that that's the truth. So your body's like, okay, I can trust this dude. So when it comes to masculine energy, we need to make sure that, we have that integrity and embodiment with the truth of what's going on. Whereas the feminine is more expressive, open, and reactive in each moment, and can be fluctuating in each moment. That's the lucidity and the flow of the feminine. And we also have to be in our feminine too, a lot of the time. And I'd like to think that right now I'm in a lot of my feminine energy because I'm flowing through conversation. I'm not thinking necessarily about what I'm saying. I'm allowing my body to be in this very meditative flow state with you here today on the potty. If I was in my masculine, I would have had things written down to what I wanted to speak into on the topic. And so would you have. You would have had a baseline. I want to ask Ryan this, I want to ask him that. That would have been a much more masculine approach to this podcast. We were both kind of rolled in and set up shop, and here we go, plugged in and trusted in the nature of this feminine energy to flow through us, which it has beautifully. And when you can get into that flow like that and let go of control, it's a beautiful way to flow and converse. And again, we're in our feminine energy. It's not that we're feminine men. We're using the feminine energy to converse and to connect and to be in our heart. For most part, that is also the feminine energy. Masculine energy is going to be a little bit more rigid, but more discerning and direct with conversation. You know, like if I was to say to you, before we got on the podcast, I could have said to you to be more direct and be more masculine. I could have been like, bro, you've got 1.5 hours and then I've got to go, right? That would be a more of a masculine approach. But I was like, no, let's flow. We scheduled 2 hours, so let's schedule 2 hours and see where the conversation flows to. So there's a lot of misconception out there in the world around masculine and feminine energy, and there's a lot of people that throw the word around toxic masculinity, and I believe that is not even a thing. There's unintegrated men out there that are wounded and are hurting and don't necessarily understand how they're hurting or why they're hurting, and that are participating in very unconscious negative behaviours in the world. The mistreating of women, the misbehaving, the playing up, the abusing, the road rage and traffic. These are men that do not know how to control their energy, that are allowing stress to overcome their body, and the little boy in them is lashing out, having a tantrum, so to speak. That is very feminine. The expression and the letting go and the inability to regulate their emotions is a feminine expression. It's letting go. It's surrendering to your body, letting it do what it needs to do. That is a feminine energy. So these boys out there that are being aggressive and that are misbehaving or whatever they're doing, they're actually less in their masculine and more in their feminine, because they can't control themselves. That's a feminine attribute. So all these people out there that are saying, oh, this is toxic masculinity, no, it's not. It's actually very feminine of these men to be doing what they're doing, because they've got no control over their actions or over their words or the way that they're treating you. They don't know what they're doing. So it's a very feminine trait. And I'm sure the listeners right now, maybe this is making sense for them out there, and there's some dots connecting. But all of those men out there, and women can also lose control too, and there's also some misbehaving and negative attributes of a woman too that can come through. It's all the same thing. We're all human and we're all animals at the end of the day, and we just don't know how to express ourselves, unfortunately, because we've, one, not been taught in school, two, may not have had parents that were able to educate us on that matter. And that's the beautiful thing about this new generation coming through. Like myself, we have the ability, the tools and the awareness to teach our children how to express safely, and how to understand emotions and how they're affecting us, and what we can do to support our system and our body with feeling these things. So yeah, bro, I trust that answers your question a little bit. It's a big topic, and there's a lot going on there, and we can talk about polarization and how relationships start to fall away, or they don't work because of the polarization, and also how there are a lot of women now attracting a lot more feminine men out there, because these women are having to be in their masculine energy because the men aren't being in their masculine energy. The men are being women. They don't know how to be integral. They don't know how to hold a house down. They don't know how to be responsible with their finances. So these women now are having to be men in the world, the hustle culture and the boss babes, and they're having to be men because the men aren't being men. They're just not. They're misbehaving. They're cheating on their partners. They're doing drugs. They're partying. They've got no structure. They've got no routine. They've got no integrity. So the women are like unconsciously becoming men. And I see it everywhere. And the men are starting to become a lot more feminine and soft. And they don't actually know how to be a man, which is scary too. And they're starting to transition into being more of a feminine expression of themselves. I know it's a very touchy and sensitive topic, but there's a big reason why a lot of the men out there now are becoming gay. It's because they don't trust. They've had potentially traumatic experiences with their fathers or men figures in their life, or they've had an experience where they've lost trust in a man because of a physical alteration, or potentially even their sexual assault or something going on that's caused this blockage. So now they hate men, so they don't want to be a man, so they become a woman. And they're avoiding the masculine energy that may have been expressed to them in a negative way back in the day by their father that beat them or that told them off or that was very aggressive. And they now see that as the threat. They see it as a danger. And what we've spoken to earlier, what does the nervous system do? It retracts. It resists. It pushes them away. It demonizes them. I now do not want to talk to another man in my life because of what happened to me when I was a child, right? So now that story that is starting to build in the intellect and the psyche and the mind and the ego is that men are bad, men are the problem, men are the issue. But no, it's not. Men aren't the issue. It's that experience that you may have had or participated or been in that hasn't been fully integrated through your body, hasn't been expressed, that is now showing up as the issue because of the skewed neuroception in the brain. So it's a really fascinating phenomena. But when you start to zoom out, and I've seen this and I've worked with people firsthand, a lot of my practitioners come through and there's always a correlation to childhood trauma when we're talking about sexuality and what we are, what we're identifying as. There's always something that happened in the childhood that has altered the personality and altered the desires of the person or the human or the body because of what happened when they were a child. Whether they remember it or not, it's in the body, it's in the epigenetics, it's in the psyche, it's in the genetics. So they are resisting what has hurt or mistreated or manipulated or abused them. So there's a lot in that conversation, but where I'm going with this is that healing from a nervous system standpoint, healing from a body standpoint is so key to revealing the true essence of you. The essence of you that is balanced, that is stable, that is grounded, that is safe. That is you. And you can reveal that from unraveling the layers in the nervous system through somatic psychotherapy, which breathwork offers, and yoga offers, and fascial work offers, and psychedelic work offers too, getting into the body. Yeah, man.
So for the blokes out there with their blokey logical brains, what needs to change?
Men need to start reminding themselves, firstly, and then reminding the women in their intimate spaces that they can be trusted, that what they say has substance, and they need to start being predictable. When you're unpredictable and women feel unsafe around you from the unpredictability, that's when you're not going to be calling in a woman. You're going to be calling in a very masculine woman that wants to control you because she feels unsafe around you. So to bring in this divine feminine woman who's free-flowing, that wants to surrender to you, that wants to trust you, you've got to be in your masculine energy. You need to be predictable. You need to have routine. You need to have structure. You need to pay the bills. You need to do what you say you're going to do. And you need to honour that. You need to have self-humility. And you also need to meet her emotionally. You can't be a robot. You've got to be a balanced, integrated man with your feminine energy as well. So when you're at home and when there's conflict in the bedroom or when there's something that needs to be felt, let it be felt. Say to your partner, babe, I've got some serious energy coming up and I think we need to talk about this. Can we sit down? Sit down, talk with her. If emotion arises, let the emotion arise. Let it flow. As a man, we go balls deep into the emotion. Don't be afraid of that shit, you know. The sooner we can get in, the sooner we're out of it. And that's what a woman needs to see, is you move through the emotion, integrate it, and come back to your masculine energy, come back into control to make her feel safe around you. If you stay in that emotion and blubber and cry and hit the floor for hours on end, what's that going to do? It's going to cause serious discomfort in your partner and in your woman. So we as a man, we move through emotion, we move through it fast, we move through it deeply, we go through it, we integrate, we come back to her. I'm back now, babe. Thanks for holding me in that. Here we are. And two, it's not her job also to hold you through it all, but it is so beautiful for her to see you in it sometimes. Men's groups, brotherhood is so necessary to roll into the stuff, especially if it's your first time experiencing emotions in a long time. Get into brotherhood, get into circle, and start getting into the practice of feeling. And then you can bring it into your relationship. Being seen by your partner, believe me, fellas out there, is the most beautiful, uplifting thing that you can do. Being held in the arms of your woman whilst you have a little cry is the most profound experience. Integrating, coming out of that, and then, seeing each other so differently is such a beautiful thing to go through. Don't ever think that you cannot cry in front of your partner. Believe me, it is the gateway to deep intimacy, to deeper love, the deeper connection with her.
How do men decipher the difference between taking this to their woman and taking this to the boys?
For me, it would come down to what it is that is pressing on your body. So if there was something that was coming up for you that had direct connection to your partner, then of course it's going to be something that you have a conversation with her with. If it's something that is external to your family environment, like work, or like something that's popped up with your brother or a friend's come up, and you're feeling like all this energy of sadness or anger or resentment or whatever, maybe a bigger emotion that's like really powerful that you don't feel that you want to bring into the home. Like sometimes you need to let rage out. If you want to do that safely, you can do it in a punching bag. You can do it underwater in the ocean. You can do it in a brotherhood circle that can hold you down. You can let that aggression go. But bringing that stuff to your partner, that's not cool. Bring the soft emotion through to her. The emotions of like, babe, I want to feel more connected to you, and I don't know how. And then sit with her. Let her see you, and just say to her, I think I need to feel some emotion. Let the tears start to flow. Or it could be something in the household. Babe, like I love you so much, but this is what you're doing something that's really irritating me. Or there's something that you're doing that's triggered me. Can we speak about this? Or babe, this is a big one. I need to feel more appreciated. Babe, I need you to see me more. Can you share these words with me more? Or can you help me with this more? And this is the love language stuff. Like, we need to be met in the way that we feel as though that we need to be met, you know? So like with Jess, when she tells me and gives me words of affirmations, it fills my heart up, you know? If she does something for me, it doesn't necessarily fill my heart up. But if she looks me in the eyes and she says, babe, you've done such an amazing paint job, like, wow, looks great. Like that feels good. But if she like makes me lunch and does something of like active service, it doesn't still feels great, but it doesn't hit my heart as much as words of affirmation do, because that's my love language. So figuring out, you know, how we can support each other in a relationship is really key. So babe, how can I show you more love? How can you show me more love? Having those conversations is going to be really supportive.
Mate, there's so much gold in there. There's so much gold in this conversation. I can't wait for people to be able to listen to this and connect with this. And I'm sure that there was a few moments there where everything else melted away. I was just in your eyes, in the story, watching it happen. And wow, what a conversation.
Wow, I loved it, brother.
What a conversation. As we veer towards the end of this, what do you want to leave people with?
You know, one thing that I really took from a podcast with Lewis Howes, and I can't actually remember who it was. it was Lewis Howes and Aubrey Marcus. Aubrey Marcus and Lewis Howes. And it was to tell the truth. Always. Always to tell the truth. And this isn't just the big stuff. This is in everyday life. See if you can, like those that are listening right now, see if you can go this day, wherever you are, see if you can go the full day in speaking the absolute truth, owning the truth, sharing the truth, and being completely honest with yourself, with those around you, and just notice what happens. It is like the most liberating thing when you start speaking the truth to everyone in every way, shape and form. But most importantly, the connection that you start to reform with yourself is undeniable. You'll start to feel a lot more connected to yourself. You'll start to feel a lot more or less of a fraud with yourself. And you'll feel more comfortable. So that's the message I'm going to leave with, is see how much you can start telling the truth to yourself and to others, and specifically those that you love. And you can approach the conversations with love. Hey, like, I love you, but I need to share this with you. Like, this is how I actually feel. Hey, I love you, and I love you so much that I need to ask you to do something for me. Can you please, this is just a general example. It could be a flatmate that keeps leaving the door open. And it could be irritating you, and you're holding on to it. You're like, oh, that thing keeps leaving the door open. It's irritating me so much, but I don't want to say anything. This is your opportunity to say something. You've got to start telling the truth. So bring it forward to them in a loving way. Hey, I love you, Peach, and I love flirting with you, but when you leave the door open, it frustrates me so much. Can you please close the door? Just like that. It doesn't need to be like, you've got to start closing the door, man. Like, are you born in a tent? It can be with love. Bring it forward with love. Approach it in a feminine way. Or, like, those conversations can be really gentle and really loving. And of course, when you need to be masculine, and a masculine approach would be when somebody is mistreating you in the line or speaking to somebody badly, you're going to go, hey, that's not how we treat people. More direct, more masculine framework. That's not how we treat people. You should think about the way that you're talking to that person. I'm not going to go to them, hey, like, I love you, I think you're a great person, and, like, we need to be a bit more direct sometimes, especially if there's physical alterations going on. We can't just be love and light. There needs to be action. There needs to be directness. There needs to be physical engagement, and that's the masculine warrior that needs to come through, that dark masculine energy. So yeah, anyway, that's my invitation to you all listening, is to be as truthful as you can today with yourself and with others.
There's one more thing I just want to ask, because I think it's just come up and I feel like it's really important. And I'll find the words. People just acting, like just being. So I'll give you an analogy, and I'm sure this will help you understand what I'm trying to say. Something that I've been thinking about lately is I always compare realities and compare nature to us. And something I was thinking about recently was flowers. A flower, it starts as a seed, it grows, and it blooms. Not for 1 second does that flower stop and think, what am I? And then, but we do. And then so, what's going on there? Because if we are integrated and we have that balance between the masculine and the feminine, and our nervous system is chill, then we just act and things are sweet. So what's going on there?
I think what I'm picking up on is there's a sense of self-judgment that is always there, and a sense of self-criticism, and a sense of questioning what I'm doing and who I am. And I believe that's one of the greatest questions of the universe, is why? Why do we judge? Why do we criticize when everything in essence is perfectly designed as it is? Whether that's the body shape or whether that's the trees and the flowers as they are. We don't look at that tree and go, that's an ugly tree, or that's some terrible bark. The human mind and the human brain and the ego is designed to criticize itself. It's designed to be that non-stop chattering monkey mind in the background to distract you from the beauty which is right here, right now. That's all it is doing. It's taking you away from the essence of right here, right now. And that is why the practices of breath work, of meditation, are really necessary and important, because you come back to the essence of what you are, which just is the awareness, just as it is. So when the mind, and what you'll find is there's a direct correlation of the insecurity and the self-judgment and the criticism when we are feeling stressed, when we're feeling inadequate, when we're feeling insecure. Those thoughts do come up. Who am I? What am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Am I good enough? Like, are my muscles big enough? Am I skinny enough? It comes up when we're out of the present moment. And it's our practice as a conscious aware being to catch yourself out. I go, I'm not listening to that. Okay, what's a practice that I can use? Because this is getting a little bit overwhelming, this chatter. I'm sick of listening to this. All right, I'm going to drop them with the breath. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to do some dancing. Let's get back out of this thing and into this thing, the lower body. Reset, recenter. Oh, that's better. I can't hear that thought anymore. I'm not criticizing myself anymore. Self-compassion, self-love, self-acceptance. That's spirituality. It's like realizing that I had no choice of this body. Like, I've just got given it. I've got to accept it. I've got to love it. Like, this is my thing. This is my car. This is my vehicle. Like, it's my job to look after it, make it feel better, because I get one of them for this run. Just look after it, Yeah, bro. That's what I'd say.
I love it. I love it. The Aussie accent and the Kiwi accent, very different. Very different. Everyone else in the world, the other 8 billion people, would say they're exactly the same. So, closing, we're going to do a little vowel challenge.
Oh, I love it.
So you just repeat the vowel after me, and then the listeners at home can get a grasp of how different the accents are.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
A, E,
B,
I, O, U. They sound pretty similar, to be fair.
A, E, I, O, U.
A, E, I, O, U.
Yeah, your A is way different.
A.
Yeah.
A, mate.
A. E.
A. E.
E.
I. O. U.
Now you got to say fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Yeah, that's and chili bin.
Chili bin.
Yeah, you go bin. I go bin. What else? Yeah, fish and chips, chili bin, 7, 6,
7.
Yeah, you go 6, I say 6.
6, 7.
But it sounds like I'm saying sucks to you, eh?
Yeah.
Sucks.
Mate, I love it. Thank you so much for your time, bro. Thank you for bringing me out to your beautiful home. It really means the world to me. Thank you for sharing so openly and honestly and vulnerably. I don't know what happened during that podcast. But I was there with you. I was there with you every step of the way, and thank you for allowing me to melt into your conversation and be taken away through your amazing story and your words of wisdom. It's an absolute honour.
Yeah, my pleasure, and I really felt you in that too, brother. And there's not many hosts that can stay as present as you did, and also continue the conversation on so beautifully the way that you did. So in fact, this has been my favourite podcast today, so thank you.
Pleasure.
And I feel honoured to be on it, and I'm excited to share it with the world. Yeah, thanks, brother.
The body has the key, and the kingdom of God is within.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. Bring it in. Give me a hug. Mate. Belter, mate.
Right.
That was
How long was that?
banger. Let's have a look. 1 hour and 54 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, that was awesome, man. I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that.